At CES 2017, BioWare shared more of Mass Effect Andromeda with a short 2-minute gameplay reveal. While it's not very long, we get a great look at the menu and skill system, which should be very exciting for longtime fans of the franchise. Hey guys, JV here with Level Up Gaming, sharing our trailer rewind for the new Mass Effect Andromeda gameplay. If you haven't seen the gameplay for yourself, click the link in the description below. Straight from the beginning, we get about 30 seconds straight of Tempest gameplay just flying through space. And the Tempest, if you didn't know already, is the new Normandy, essentially just a new and improved version of what we already had in previous games, but of course it serves a new purpose with the Andromeda initiative and all of that. But here are some of the technical details that we do know. Number one, there are no loading screens between locations inside the ship, which is fantastic. Those elevators were dreadful in the original trilogy. There's also no galaxy map anymore, so no more galaxy map music. You're going to stand on the bridge and choose locations from a star map, which apparently is a lot more intuitive. The Tempest has a location where Ryder can modify his or her skill points and switch abilities between missions. There's also a garage in the back where you can see your Nomad, which you can actually customize the appearance of, which will be great. There's also, of course, Ryder's personal quarters, just like Shepard's, which will change throughout the course of the game depending on your decisions. And of course, your crew members will be around the Tempest actively doing something, not just standing there, and you will be able to interact with them just like the original trilogy. Moving on, we're going to pause quickly here to look at the skills menu. This is our very first look at what skills look like and how we manage them in Andromeda. We can tell in the bottom left that we're managing our squad. So there's Cora, who is a human female, I believe, that hasn't been revealed yet. I'm sure she will be before the game comes out. And PB, we're looking at PB, our Asari squad mate. To her right, below her name, once again, we see Rogue Academic level 27. So maybe this is some kind of specialization. We don't know how those work necessarily so far, but it's good to note that. Also, we can see her health and shield numbers and her current loadout, which only has invasion. We're going to talk a lot about the different skills that are shown off in this trailer. Here we see that PB was auto leveled up, which is a system that was in previous games. You could just click one button and all of those skill points would be distributed within each of the skills and powers and all of that stuff. So that's going to be back. We can tell there's going to be plenty of points to distribute. So that may be something that, less hands-on players would want to do. We also see that her current loadout on the right has been updated to include Invasion, Pull, and Shockwave. Of course, Pull and Shockwave are abilities that were returning, biotic abilities from previous Mass Effect games, but again, Invasion is new. We're going to see more on that in a second. Moving forward, we get some audio from the mission, and it's our protagonist, Ryder, talking to the Tempest's new AI named Sam. So not Edie anymore, we've got Sam. That's going to be a bit of an adjustment. Apparently, there's been some kind of crash. I couldn't tell if it was the Tempest or another crash site that the crew is investigating, and it has to do with PB's signal that she's left behind. And apparently, according to BioWare, this is part of a loyalty mission for PB. So we're definitely going to get more info on that as time progresses. We're going to get another look at the pause menu here very briefly. I want to pause here just to show a few things. First off, the standard wheel where you pick everything from the pause menu is back. That's a small thing, but definitely something I recognize from the previous games. And along the top, there's a lot of interesting information. On the far left, we see an XP bar, and I don't want to look into this too much, but the fact that there's so much experience to level up from 27 to 28, 36,000 tells me that there's a lot of different things that give you experience in this game, which is really exciting. Next to that is an item limit. So 40 items, that's what you can carry in your inventory. Moving on to the far right, we see credits, which of course is the currency in the game, and then Nexus level. So if you don't know what Nexus is, the Nexus is essentially a smaller, more streamlined version of the Citadel from the original Mass Effect. So smaller version that went with the Andromeda initiative, and that's going to play a significant role. We don't know what Nexus level is or how you gain that yet, but just a little tidbit there. Moving into probably the juiciest information in this trailer, and that's the profiles for Ryder, for the Pathfinders. So we're looking right here at the Soldier profile. Essentially, there are 6 core classes in the game still. Of course, you got Soldier, Engineer, Adept, Sentinel, Vanguard, and Infiltrator. If you've played Mass Effect before, then you're totally familiar with what those classes are. However, Ryder, the Pathfinder, is unique in that he can swap implants, and it looks like the way that they handle classes is they call them profiles in this game. So we can clearly see on the right, it says this profile optimizes Ryder's mind and body for superior mastery of his armor and weapons. We're going to see another example of this with the Engineer profile, but just know that you can swap these in and out. The Pathfinder is unique. It's not like Shepard where you're locked into a single class. We can also see that profiles have ranks. So this Soldier is a rank 1, and you can see the rank 1 bonuses in green text, things like weapon damage, damage protection, weapon clip size, stuff that makes sense for a Soldier. There is definitely a progression within these profiles. Next is the Engineer profile. We've got another description for the Engineer, and again, it explains explains that this is a reconfiguration of Ryder's implant, enabling him to do other things that he couldn't do otherwise. In the green text, we can see there are rank 1 bonuses, passives like bonus combo damage. I believe that tech in general is going to be about executing those combos, which is something we kind of saw in Mass Effect 3. I'm sure it's going to be a lot more explored in this game. Tech construct stuff, so we're going to have a combat drone if you choose this profile, and that's kind of the special ability. I believe that Soldier had one as well. On the far left, before we move on, we can see Explorer underneath Infiltrator, and if I had to guess, you probably want to swap to this profile when you're exploring, obviously, when you're scanning things and learning more about the world, maybe gathering materials. This is just speculation, but if I had to guess, that's probably what this is for. After selecting that engineer profile, Ryder continues, and we get some more plot movement a little bit with this mission that they're not really focusing on. The Pathfinder Ryder opens a gate using a Remnant device, and we hear a little bit from Sam, the AI. In the top right, we can see that the mission is to cross the bridge gap and continue to track this signal source for whatever PB's mysterious signal is going to be. If you're wondering who the Remnant are, there's some new alien race, obviously. We're not sure about their motivations. We really don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. Back to the pause menu, now we're looking at Ryder skills, and we're going to pause here just to generally look at how things are working. On the right, we can see default profile Ryder, probably the first name they had to put in there, and Recon Specialist level 27, so that's the specialization we saw before with PB. We're going to see something else that looks like a specialization that might clue us in on how this thing works. Below that, health and shields like before, and the current loadout, Overload Flat Cannon, and Remnant VI. We're going to take a look at all of the abilities within the engineer profile because they are revealed in this video. Something important I want to point out, on the left-hand side under Ryder skills, we have 3 folders: Combat, Biotics, and Tech. We're going to take a look at Tech because that's what's in this video. Keep in mind, each of these folders are holding skills and abilities that file under Combat, Biotics, and Tech, and it seems like you can choose those and incorporate those into your current loadout on the right side. As you can tell, Overload and Remnant are yellow or orange. Those are going to be Tech abilities, but Flat Cannon is most certainly a combat ability like for a soldier character. Now into the tech folder. There's a lot of things going on here. First off, we're looking at the Overload Tech Power, and there's a lot of descriptions here. I'm not going to read exactly what these are. If you want to pause the video and read these one for one, you can certainly do that, but I will pause on each and every single one. So first off, I want to point out that there's a tap and a hold version for this ability, which is really cool. It's kind of like you can use these in 2 different ways, and the tap version detonates combo primers. You can see that in green text. Just like in Mass Effect 3, there are certain combos you can use to detonate and cause even more damage. That is going to be returning in Andromeda in some form or fashion. We can also see that powers themselves have individual ranks. You can see there's rank 2 and then all the individual stats and damage numbers, which is really nice. I want to say this is not a dumbed down game. People were probably worried about that. No. You've got all the stats for everything that you need to see. But this is a rank 2 ability. You can also tell that on the left side where the menu is for all the tech abilities. Overload has 2 different little lights there. That is for rank 2. Quick pause here, we see Auxiliary Systems, which is a tech passive, just increases some of the stuff you would expect, like tech effect duration and tech force. So that's going to be one of those passive abilities if you want to invest points into that to just make the overall profile better. The footage scrolls through all of the tech abilities very quickly, but right now, instead of like going slow-mo or anything like that, I'm just going to list them all out for you guys. So Incinerate is back below Overload. Of course, Overload is back. Incinerate, we've got again Assault Turret. I believe we saw gameplay of that in a previous gameplay trailer, and it's not in this trailer, but it looks very, very cool. Cryo Beam, Energy Drain, and Tactical Cloak are abilities returning from previous games. Flamethrower is brand new. We're going to see gameplay of that. Remnant VI is a new ability. We're going to see a closer description of that, and Invasion. We're also going to see that brand new. So very exciting stuff. Those are 8 active abilities. Those are tech powers that you can use and that have a cooldown. We also have 3 passive abilities. We've already seen Auxiliary Systems, but there's also Team Support and Offensive Tech. So I think we're going to look at those as well. Another quick pause for Offensive Tech. Again, this is pretty obvious. If you put points into this, it's going to increase all of your tech power damage across the board for the profile. Team Support, again, it's one of those things that we saw in previous games, one passive that kind of increases everything for the team, but this is specifically for tech. So you're going to see things like shields being increased for your entire team, power damage, construct damage. That's great if you have a tech-based squad mate that you want to kind of combo with if you're running the engineer profile, for example, with Ryder. Next is Invasion, a brand new power. It's a tech power that lowers enemy defenses and deals damage spreads across multiple enemies. So this is something you're going to want to open up with and in groups because it will spread to other enemies. Next is Remnant VI, another new tech power that is interesting. It's a retrofitted version of a Remnant Observer that you can use for yourself. It's got a tap and a hold function, one to attack and one to deactivate the unit entirely. And then also we can tell from the rank 6, this is a maxed out version of this power, that this drone, this observer, has a beam weapon and a missile weapon. which is really interesting. Also, side note, in the description it says that this counts as a tech construct, so all of those passive bonuses we saw before, if you invest in those, then the Remnant VI actually benefits from that. The final individual ability we get to look at is the Flamethrower, which is a new tech power. This one is interesting because you can only hold it to use it. There's no tap function according to what we can see right here, but it also primes enemies for combo detonation. So again, you use this with other tech abilities to deal bonus damage. We're about to see gameplay for the Flamethrower, but before that, we get a look at the actual upgrade path for this individual tech ability. I'm not going to go through and pause for each individual upgrade here, but I can say generally this upgrade path system for powers is very similar to what we had in Mass Effect 3. You have the first 3 upgrades and then it kind of branches into a choice. You choose one or the other. Some of the upgrades do stand out from the others, the non-obvious ones. Number 1, at rank 5, there's Reach, which increases the radius, the damage radius of the Flamethrower. Lingering Burn increases damage over time, damage, of course, and the duration of the ability. Blinding Heat has enemies on fire dealing less damage, so that's cool. It's kind of like a debuff. And then Anti-Armor is more armor damage from this fire ability. That's something you expect. Overall, as you get deeper into the progression, things start to diversify and you could really kind of change how your abilities function. That's definitely something I enjoyed in Mass Effect 3 that's being carried over into Andromeda. Final note, the number of points you need to upgrade for each rank is just like it was in previous games. Rank 4 costs 4 points, rank 5 costs 5 points. Just a small note there if you're wondering, what are all these 31 points? That's how it works in this game as well. After this upgrade, we can see that this player is placing Flamethrower in the place of Remnant VI as an active ability and then confirming that. So that essentially means there's 3 active abilities at a time. And some people are worried that that's not enough. I'm not sure if that's the cap or we unlock more space or if that's subject to change. I think we'll just have to see. The reason we're paused here is because we see what looks like a specialization. New profile unlocked, technical overseer unlocked. The engineer profile is now at rank 4. This is speculation, but it seems to me that as we spend points in each individual profile, we're going to unlock different specializations. Maybe we have to spend points on specific things in order to unlock specific specializations. It's going to be really interesting to see how that works. Finally, onto the gameplay. There's a lot of things going on here, so I'm going to try to pause where it makes sense. Our first quick pause here is for the HUD along the bottom. Very quickly, we've got the weapon equipped bottom left. That's going to be a shotgun. You're going to see gameplay of that. We've also got the shields on top of the health displayed there, and then both of the squad mates and their current statuses. Bottom right are the 3 active abilities that are activated by the bumpers, and then both of the bumpers at the same time for the middle ability. So that's Overload, once again, Flat Cannon's the middle one that's got 2 charges, which is interesting, and then Flamethrower on the right. Ryder just killed that Remnant Assembler and is now onto a Nullifier, which has armor only and this giant shield. So that's going to be an interesting thing to encounter. We've got melee attacks through the shield, very cool. Then finally getting through this enemy after using a Flamethrower. So very quick, very fast pace, and we saw the little dash in there, which is really cool. I wonder what the limit is going to be on that type of movement. We'll have to see. Next, Ryder turns to the observers, which have shields and then normal health. We're going to see the flat cannon right there, and then this is Overload. Such a cool animation, way better than it was before. Ryder switches to an assault rifle, boosts, dash, then hovers in the air, picks up some ammo on the way, and then turns to this destroyer, which has a turret on top. It's a separate thing that you can actually target. So I think we're going to see some segmented enemies throughout this game, which is really cool. So after Ryder kills this enemy with the Flamethrower, one last pause, we can see remains with a dot on Ryder's helmet. Now, we're not pointing to the helmet, it's what's behind the helmet, and I don't know if that's specific to the mission or some kind of, looting system within this game. I think we'll have to wait on that. So that was everything that caught my eye in the latest Mass Effect Andromeda trailer, but of course I didn't catch everything. So if you're watching this video and you're thinking, hey, you forgot about this, let me know in the comment section below. Was there anything else that you saw in this gameplay that you'd like to share with everyone else watching the video? Share in the comment section below. Be sure and follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram for constant updates on when we're uploading new content. Check out our website at levelupgmg.com where you'll find complete libraries of every single video we upload moving into the future. Also, if you're feeling generous, consider supporting us further through our Patreon. Becoming a patron allows you to engage with us directly and unlock exclusive content like monthly Q&A videos. So visit our Patreon if you'd like to learn more. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and click subscribe if you haven't already for more tips and tricks and gaming related videos. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time here on Level Up Gaming.